Hello and welcome back to another video. This is a new series called Trident Park. The idea behind this series is to make a park that's similar to SeaWorld. You know, how SeaWorld, everything is based around water. It's not a water park per se, but other than like Aquatica and their actual water parks that they do have. But I'm talking about like SeaWorld Orlando, SeaWorld San Diego, all that. SeaWorld Texas or whatever it's called. And even in the Busch Gardens parks as well, because that's under the SeaWorld name. Everything is kind of like, but more of SeaWorld. Anyways, everything is about water. The shows are with marine life, which obviously has to do with water. The rides are themed around water, like Journey to Atlantis. You know, that I think that's the name of that ride, the water coaster. It is mostly a boat ride, but then and then it has a few coaster sections. And then they have I'm talking about SeaWorld Orlando now. The Infinity Falls, that is another like water ride. And then they have Mako, which is themed to a shark, which obviously lives in water. And then everything is based around the water. That's the kind of idea behind the park, and that is something similar I'm trying to do here. Another purpose of this park is to get me better at building scenery, because oh boy, I am not that good at scenery. At least I wasn't. But I'm a bit better now because after making this video. I'm currently making the entrance, and right now I'm planning, adding scenery, because the whole goal is in the beginning it's going to be like a forest kind of, because that's like the entrance I'm going for. Because one thing I'm real bad at, in my opinion, is making nature, because it's kind of hard for me to focus on it, and it's a little bit tedious and boring, in my opinion. But I know it's needed to make something look real good. Because in my opinion, I think I'm fairly good at making roller coasters. I can make some real good looking roller coasters, and not like they're not flat. They're not anything, and they're not like I can make a good wooden coaster. You want me to make a wooden coaster that's like old timey? I can do that. You want me to make like a modern GCI that's like a twister type of style? I can't speak for some reason. You want me to make a modern wooden coaster that's like a twister? I could easily do that. You want me to make a roller coaster that's like a steel coaster and it does inversions? I can do that. Want me to make one that's more about airtime? I can do that. I can do a lot of roller coasters with fairly with ease. Because in my opinion, I think I'm fairly good at them. And and I'll show that later when I get into the making the park later in a different episode. But this is more about scenery, making the park look lively and vibrant, making it look natural. Because when I was reviewing the original making the ultimate theme park, which is which I kind of stole the idea from attacking toucans, but he kind of stole the idea from a Minecraft YouTuber who made like making the ultimate Minecraft world and whatnot. It's an idea. So, and I'm not just copy and pasting. I'm giving my own ideas, putting my own style, and I have a layout in my mind on how I want to have it. I want like a futuristic area and like a western area and a pirate area, and that's going to be like the center of the park and everything. But I was reviewing how I made the buildings. I am bad. Like, surprisingly bad. So, the goal with this is to get me better at it. because I spent about 2 hours on making this first video, just the entrance alone. Probably the most I've spent on any amount of scenery, probably the most. And right now I'm going through showing like a shot of how it looks so far. So I thought it was really coming together. I was really proud of what I had done with making the scenery. Because I have like, personal parks where I just like, mess around, try to make a cool looking park in my opinion, just as a personal thing. And one ride I was really proud of in one of my parks was this wooden coaster. It's supposed to be like an out and back wooden type coaster, similar to the Beast except more modern. It's not like a lot of straight track. It's a lot of hills. It has a double up a double. I think it even has a triple down somewhere. It's a very cool ride, but it is it has a lot of trees and a lot of scenery, and I was really proud of it. But the thing is, it's the scenery. Looking back, it's not that good, like honestly, because all I really did was I I did spend quite a bit of time, but it could be way better because I planted a lot of trees and everywhere, but it was kind of sporadic. And then what I did was I found out a new tool at the time for me. I hadn't found out about it, where you just like make it into a scenery group and then you just copy and paste it. And it was like wow, this is real easy. And I thought it looked good. I think it's still all right, but it's not as good as an achievement as I had thought it was. But it was, because it was, it wasn't the best thing, but it was good. It was improvement for me because when I was like copying everything, some stuff didn't go into the ground where it was supposed to, so it was not the best. But later on, I made another wooden coaster. I seem to always give a lot of scenery to wooden coasters. I don't know why. One wooden coaster in another park I made. It's actually fairly good. I like how I had done it. So pretty much, I made it like a theme to hurricanes in Florida. This other one, and it was all right. No, actually, no, it's not all right. It's actually fairly good. It's the ride. It's really well. Like it rides well. I mean, I assume it rides well. It looks like it rides well, is what I mean. Like watching the POV and everything of the ride. It looks like it rides real well and it looks real fun. And I wish it existed. Because I spent a lot of time on it and it actually, I was theming it kind of based off like the original movie maker rides at like Universal and Disney. That's kind of, the where you go and see the rides and everything. That's what I was kind of basing it off of, and it looked actually all right. But I know it actually does. It's pretty cool. But if it could be better, I will say that but it is probably one of the best rides I have personally made, and I really just like how I did it. I think it's a good ride. I really like it, but it could be better. And the whole goal of this park is to make it where when I make rides like that again, it will be actually all right. It will actually be like the scenery will be good. Because I can make a good ride, but it's making the scenery. Because it's like, one, keeping your attention span is kind of hard. Because scenery, it's so like tedious, but when you do when you do it and you do it right, it's really nice. It looks real good. And it brings everything together. You know, and like that's one reason Six Flags gets knocked. Because like, sure, they have some good rides, but their scenery is not the best, and it's because they're not, they're more of a thrill park and not a theme park, more just a thrill park. Nothing insane. Now I will say the work I did on the thing I'm doing right now, this like arch, was not the best, but I did not have it lined up in the slightest, so it was kind of hard. But the work I did here is not the best. I'll say that. Yeah, so the goal of this is to make it where I'm better, and that's why I haven't. That's one reason I haven't posted any like I haven't posted any new videos of making the ultimate theme park because it is like one, I have school, but also I just wasn't really that good. Because when I was looking back at all my previous builds, I looked at it and I was like, man, this was not done the best that it could have been. And so instead of spending hours making multiple different building the ultimate theme park videos, I instead just, well, I didn't make any because my thought was if I make more and I make more at the same quality I'm at right now, it's gonna sabotage the future of what it could look like, how it could be. Like, it could be so much better in the future, and it was gonna sabotage all of that potential. So I just didn't make any videos, and I kind of went on a year hiatus. You know, and and I think it was a smart decision. But now this park will fix it. And in this entrance, I may have already said this. I can't remember. I have a short attention span. Well, short memory and short attention span. I spent about 2 hours on making the entrance to this park, which is for me quite a bit. And in the episodes I had made of building the ultimate theme park, I probably spent about an hour and 30 minutes. Actually, no, on one of them I spent like 2.5 hours, but that was making the ride and then theming the ride and all that. But for but that was on a larger scale. Anyways, that was like triple the size of this. So I spent about the same amount of time I spent on any of the videos or more, built something smaller. But and with that, since I was more concentrated, and instead of just having this idea of I got to do this, I got to do that, it was making a big thing instead of making this small thing. I was able to make a lot of detail into it. I was able to put so much detail. And I think, of course, some people can definitely do way more detail, make it way better looking than I could. But I was really proud of how this entrance ends up turning out. Because what I'm currently doing, I'm making like a trident. It's going to be the centerpiece to the end opening of the park. Now, what I was doing, I was trying to make a basic looking trident right now. Now, I was actually gonna this be like the original. This is gonna be like, oh yes, here's the trident here. It's good, but then but as I make it, I realize it's not the best looking. But yeah, I decided to go on that year hiatus because I didn't want to sabotage the future work, and I spent more on this one video, more time and effort than probably any of the other building the ultimate theme park episodes. I think I made like 3. I spent way more time, and now the one thing in building the ultimate theme park, which I did real well in my opinion, was making this like the hospital area because then it was up where guests couldn't get, but there's windows and the goal was eventually when I expand the park and and make a section behind the hospital, people could see the hospital because I had made it like kind of detailed on the inside. I made 2 rooms and they were pretty detailed in my opinion. Because I spent like 20 minutes on each room. And it's not like a big room, it's like a hospital bedroom where someone would be sleeping or where they would stay. This Trident originally it looks horrible, so I'd end up taking it down and making something new out of it because, you know, it looked bad. And the whole goal is to make good scenery, not bad scenery. Bad scenery looks bad. So this whole goal is to make good scenery. Anyways, what I did was I spent a lot of that time making, focusing on a concentrated area, and by the end of it, it actually looked all right. And I have the same kind of idea behind this, because if I make a, I'm making like the entrance and stuff, and I spent about 2 hours making this entrance, and because the problem I think I was facing was, it was, the time management one. But one problem with the time management was like, oh boy, I gotta build, because I had this huge idea in my head, but it's like, man, that's gonna take like a long time. And then, I'm like, maybe I should just save this for another day. Maybe I do this another day. I don't think I want to do this today. This thing's like it's gonna take forever. But instead, if I can spend a reasonable amount of time, let's say 2 hours to, at most 3 hours. I'm probably never gonna end up doing that, because this was filmed on 2 separate days. Half this was I spent like an hour on one day and then an hour on another day. This was made on 2 separate days to make it not as insane. But yeah, so instead of spending 2 hours or something on making a big area and having it be kind of rushed and sloppy, instead spend about 2 hours on making a smaller area, and over time everything kind of comes together. So I spend more, and I'll end up spending way more time on the area, sure, but it's not in one sitting, because the problem I had is like, oh, if I leave this area undone, I'm gonna not feel as motivated, because it doesn't look complete, and it's like with art, something a lesson that a lot of if you're an artist, you should be taught, is that like when you make art in the beginning, it's not gonna look that good. It really, because there's always like a phase of art where the art does not look that good. Because I make art quite not the most often, but quite frequently, I'd say. And there's a phase where the art is not good looking, and you feel like, man, I should just quit on this thing. This does not look that good. If you trust yourself and think, if I just keep doing this, it will come together. And delete the things that because sometimes there's like things where like that you can just tell are bad. But when you just like trust yourself and just go with it and try to make it works. But, when I was making the park, it was a bit hard for me to think that way. As it was like, because I would come back another day and I'd be like, man, I got a lot of work to catch up on. This is gonna take forever to finish this section. So instead, I'm making small sections in a small amount of, giving myself a long amount of time, just doing small sections instead of giving myself a long amount of time and doing big sections, because it looks better in the end. Now, when I made this trident, I looked up like an image of a trident. I think I took them like the Maserati logo, because their image is like a trident. That's their logo. And so and this looks, in my opinion, a lot better than the previous one. Because the previous one did not look that good. It was just straight up spikes and it was not that good. Now what I do here, I make like a little handlebar section, because this was like this was where I was originally gonna have it, but then I decided to make it bigger to make it look a bit better. And yeah, so this is and I don't know how well it's gonna show up in the video, but while playing the game, it looks like from kind of afar you can see a little bit, like a few extra pixels that make it look like a handlebar, and it actually looks kind of cool. Right now, I'm getting rid of the screen color, because I like the color green personally, but it's like not the color I'm going for here. And it's based around water, so it's got to be blue. And I chose a dark blue. I would choose like a navy blue, like almost black, but that's not really a color. That's not really an option in Planet Coaster. But yeah, this is. I think this is going to really come together once it's. I think this park will come together when I finish it eventually. But right now, I'm fairly proud of it. And yeah, I'm going to be making more episodes of this in the near future, because this is something I'm like actually kind of passionate about, because something that would be cool if Planet Coaster added would be water park stuff, like where you can have like a slide and stuff. That would be real cool. Don't think that's gonna come. I think that if that ever comes, it would be in Planet Coaster 2. So this park won't be able to have any water slides per se, but you know, it'll have water rides in a way, and I think it's just gonna look real nice when it's all said and done. So right now, I'm just gonna let it just fade out and let you show you what I have so far. I hope you all have an amazing day, and thank you for watching.